Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Dennis Bermudez to defeat Darren Elkins. And I'm here to talk about Damone Blackshear versus Mario Bautista. Damone Blackshear is stepping up on very short notice. He just fought on Saturday. I know you know all of this, but I have to just mention it. He won with the third twister in UFC history. Would you believe that? I bet you didn't know that. But he won with the third twister in UFC history, and he steamrolled Jose Johnson. He was hit. He was hit early on, but I doubt he was hurt because he asked for this fight and got it pretty quickly. I think he had this in the back of his head. You know, everybody knew Cody had pulled out, and very ballsy of both guys, really, because Mario Bautista, I think he has a more difficult matchup in a lot of ways than he did with Cody Garbrandt. At least Cody was more susceptible to being knocked out. And I think Damone Blackshear, certainly here, he's taken on a very tough test. I mean, this is not some Contender Series question mark. This is a guy that's on a 4-fight winning streak in the UFC. So, balls on both men. And the fight will be contested at 135 or 136 or whatever the fuck. But the point is, Damone Blackshear is not fighting at a catch weight, and he's going to cut weight again. He's going to suck all that water back out of his body. And I think he's going to make it based on the fact that it's not at a catch weight. And I think, like I said, he had this in the back of his head, this fight. But even if he makes it and has no issues, there still might be issues. You know, 2 weight cuts. Each weight cut is an ass kicking. Even if you're halfway there, you know, it's not like he has to trim down or whatever. He's just got to do the water thing for this one here. But it's still an ass kicking. And he's had 2 in 1 week. So I'm not saying it's going to be the difference maker. I'm just saying if it even looks like it is, that's going to be the story. But anyway, let's get into the matchup. Batista's 30 years old, 12-2 as a pro, and he's given up 1 inch of height and 3 inches of reach to 29-year-old Blackshear, who is 14-5 as a pro, with his last victory being on Saturday. I will look to their losses right away because that's what I like to do. Batista's 2 losses come in the UFC, a knockout and a submission. Well, he was TKO'd, I guess, by Trevin Jones. Well, he was floored with a punch. I don't know what it's classified as, but Trevin Jones floored him with a big uppercut. That was in round 2, and I don't even know if it's an uppercut. I rewatched it this week. I still don't know what you call it, but he caught him with a really sneaky punch. Really sneaky punch. Mario Bautista was, I think, falling into the Trevin Jones trap, where Trevin Jones is just a patient guy who's deceptively dangerous, and Bautista was up on points and let his guard down a bit, I think. Against Corey Sandhagen, that's the other guy to beat him. He beat him by submission. Corey Sandhagen is one of the best fighters in the world, and even though he doesn't seem like it as of late, he's one of the most dangerous guys in the world, and this was him going full tornado. He wasn't going tactically here, trying to fight for the long haul. He just went full Sandhagen, flying knees and arm bars and whatever, and he got Bautista out of there with an arm bar pretty quickly. Damone Blackshear, he's got 5 losses and 1 draw. He's never been finished. All 5 losses are via decision. The draw is to Yusuf Zalal, and the decision losses are all to good fighters. Danny Sabatello, Pat Sabatini, Chris Moutinho, Farid Basharat, and this guy Keith Richardson outside the UFC. Well, all those are outside the UFC aside from the Farid Basharat fight. But anyway, Damone Blackshear, largely he's lost to better grapplers, and he is a great grappler himself, as he proved on Saturday again. Their wins, both these guys have similar patterns for victory, similar proportions. Batista's got 3 TKOs, 6 submissions, and 3 decisions. Blackshear's got 2 TKOs, 9 submissions, and 3 decisions. Their TKOs are, mixed up. Damone Blackshear, both of his TKOs come on the ground. Luan Lacerda and the other guy, whoever it was ground and pound as well. Mario Bautista, his 3 TKOs, one of them comes in his debut, and it's to a guy who ended up with an 0-7 record. So it's like that never happened. The other one was a doctor stoppage after round 2. And then his legit one was the flying knee TKO over Miles Johns, where he floored him with a flying knee and then pounced on him. That's one of his best victories, certainly one of his best victories, and easily his best TKO victory and his only real legitimate one. And I'm not saying that to knock his power, but anybody can really knock someone out if they land a flying knee. But as far as punching power goes, these guys are both, I think, deceptively dangerous, but they just haven't proven it. I think, neither one of them's got a knockout with their hands, as far as I know. I think Bautista had a knockout as an amateur, which is probably with his hands. But either way, as pros, they're just not dangerous on their feet. But they're both solid on their feet. They're solid technically and both willing brawlers as well. I think you get these guys in a firefight and they're comfortable. And there, to be honest, I'd favor Damon, even though Bautista maybe could be a little sharper. I think Damon is a little healthier. He was hurt against Yusuf Zalal, almost TKO'd, to be honest, but he hung in there. Bautista had a war with a Jinsu Sun. That was a fucking war. Jinsu Sun left the UFC. I think he left MMA after losing to Bautista and Petr Yan, but he fared well in both fights, and the Bautista's fight especially was a fucking war. But that shows Bautista's comfortable fighting hard, give and take, and getting hurt for 15 minutes. I think this is a very even fight. And, there's a chance Damon wins it if he can win the wrestling battle. I do think, in general, this one comes down to the wrestling battle. But I think if Bautista wins the wrestling battle, he's going to have a hard time finishing Blackshear. But if Blackshear's on top of Bautista, just looking at their records, I think Blackshear would have an easier time finding a path to a finish. And then Blackshear's suffocating on top. The way he, stuffed Luan Lacerda with that leg lock and beat the shit out of him was just so impressive. I think Damon Blackshear is definitely in the realm of winning this fight, but I'm picking Mario Bautista. I think Mario Bautista is just a little faster, certainly on the feet. I think both guys are willing wrestlers, willing grapplers who will, hit the takedowns, attempt the takedowns. But I expect Bautista to be a little more active in general, and also in general, I just trust him more down the stretch. He's been training for a 15-minute fight here. Again, Blackshear is near top physical condition, but he's got 2 weight cuts. So, gun to my head, I'd go with Bautista. And I guess it'd be by decision. That's really his only path to victory on paper against Damon Blackshear, even though Bautista's dangerous everywhere. But Blackshear winning by decision or even TKO or submission wouldn't surprise me at all. I think Damon Blackshear is a very talented fighter. It's just he's biting off a lot here, and I don't know if he can chew it up because he's got a lot going against him again. And we'll see how he looks tomorrow, if he makes the weight and whatever. If he doesn't, then I have a lot of doubt. And also something that gave me a little doubt was in the pre-fight interview. I listened to his interview, and he said something like, "There's no pressure on me." And it's like, I don't know. Whatever. There is no pressure on him, really. It'd be forgivable if he lost. But at the same time, it kind of sounds like the seed's been planted to excuse a loss. So, whatever. I'm just inclined to go with Bautista. I'm not betting on this, aside from Damon Blackshear, maybe, if I get drunk enough. But, I'm not betting on Bautista. I think this is a close matchup anyway. They're similar types of fighters. And I'll just go with the guy who's got circumstances in his favor. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.